Hey anime fans, this is Chris Boltz coming in with an article from my friends over at Anime Corner. This article is on piracy, and I want to talk about how this article might relate to anime. So before we do get into the content, do make sure you do like, share, subscribe, turn on those post notifications. All that stuff really helps me out. And the title of this article is Unworkable and Deeply Concerning: Sony Music Among Parties Pushing to Cut Off Internet for Pirating Customers, and the Supreme Court is asked to intervene. Now, this is coming from Chiki Nwane over at Anime Corner. This article did come out 4 days ago, but I saw it just right now, and I thought I want to go ahead and talk about that. So, in the first paragraph right here, it says, following a lawsuit from several major record companies, including Sony Music and Warner Brothers Records, major tech and ISP Grand Communication Network has sought the Supreme Court's intervention after being found guilty of contributory copyright infringement by failing to terminate internet access after receiving evidence that its customers were committing copyright infringement. Now, just the one thing right there, that word guilty, this is a civil suit, not a criminal suit. So they were not found guilty, but they were found liable. That distinction is very important right there. But Texan ISP Grand Communication Networks was found liable for failing to terminate internet access after receiving evidence that its customers were committing copyright infringement. Now, they went to court twice. They lost the judgment back in 2023, but they appealed. They, being Grand Communications, appealed it in 2024, and they lost again. So pretty much, Grand is on the hook for going in there and paying damages, as well as having to go in there and enforce a law that they actually originally had in place against these pirators on their internet service. And you see that right here in the second paragraph. In October of 2010, that's when it first came about, after previous compliance, Grand adopted a policy to never terminate subscribers for copyright infringement, no matter how many reports it received. Now that takes some gall on the part of Grand Communications, that they would not want to go ahead and cooperate in not stopping piracy on their platform. And it was highlighted in the 2023 court loss, in which a jury found that Grand had credible proof of customers committing copyright infringement and willfully failed to, quote, take basic measures to prevent further damages to copyrighted works. So that could have included terminating internet subscriptions. Now, Grand obviously took a really stringent approach to not wanting to invoke that, and they says it right here that copyright holders have a clear right to sue those directly responsible for infringing conduct, and of course they do, but the ISP does not want to go ahead and be held liable, and they says it right here in the last sentence, but that is their choice, and it is on them for refusing to invoke the rights Congress actually provided via statute. So they're saying that Grand is trying to say our hands are clean. We're not involved in this or anything like that. We will try to protect our customers, but if you want to force us to tell on them, we will tell on them, but you can't sue us. You got to sue them directly for infringing on your rights. Well, courts, both the lower court and the appeals court, found that argument to be specious and said, nah, you will go ahead and pay these record companies $46 million, and you will also still go ahead and terminate those people who are pirating these services. It says, the next paragraph says, Grand says forcing ISPs to ban customers face massive legal damages would be unworkable and deeply concerning, deeply unfair, and would unduly harm innocent subscribers. Now, I don't know about that last one right there. If you were an innocent subscriber, you ain't got nothing to worry about or anything. But the other two just sound like emotional arguments, and emotional arguments very rarely work on behalf of corporations. They may work on behalf of individuals, But when it comes to corporations, I think our justice system rightfully says, nah, you got to come up with more rational and logical arguments to support your position as to why, in this case here, why Grand feels like it shouldn't have to go in there and put in measures to prevent piracy. You know, it says highlights the heavy cost of terminating connections, including harming children's learning and disabling connected medical devices, among others. Man, I tell you, if I were on the jury, I would be laughing at Grand. And if they take this all the way to the Supreme Court, making those types of arguments, this is going to become the law of the land, because I'm pretty sure all the other ISPs are looking at this with great interest and wanting to know how this is going to play out, because so far Grand is not putting on a really good show of defense, rather a really good defense as to why they should not be complying with their own laws that they put in place. Remember that they said that in prior to that they were in compliance. Prior to all this court drama, they were in compliance. They were going in there enforcing the measures to prevent damages of copyrighted works, as quoted right here. But they decided, you know what? It's too expensive. We're not going to do it anymore. And that's probably why they decided to do that. This isn't about trying to protect consumers or anything like that. It's because the customer, the corporation, the internet service provider right here, just cannot go ahead. They don't have the money to enforce it anymore. So they just said, we're going to stop doing it. It says Grand also laid out numerous logistical issues with placing an onus on ISPs to ban customers without Congress creating a detailed framework. Stop passing the buck. Come on now. Stop passing the buck. Buck passing is also a good argument as well. And of course, we go down here. It says, how many notices are enough? One notice is enough. That's all you need. One notice is enough. And what if the first notice is doubtful, or the subscriber offers a legitimate excuse or promises not to do it again? Oh my goodness. But yeah, if anyone that is pirating, let me just put it this way, and the reason why I brought it up about anime, if anyone is pirating, you need to be on notice about what can potentially come down for you should you be caught pirating by your internet service provider. They can go ahead and they will probably terminate your service, more than likely, and they will also snitch you out to the copyright holder, who in turn can also go ahead and sue you. And the reason why I tie this to anime and why Anime Corner mentions this is because in anime, lots of people pirate their shit. They don't pay the monthly subscription fee to any of the streaming services. They don't pay the Crunchyroll or Hulu, Netflix, Amazon Prime, any of those, or any place that provides high dive. And you might have your own personal reason why you don't want to do that. But here's the thing. Like I said, this can come right back on you. And I just decided to go ahead and do a little digging here on anime piracy. I just typed in anime pirating, and the very first thing that pops up is from Reddit. What anime piracy sites do you guys use? Which this was from a year ago. And the guy says solved, now using Miru app. So I'm like, okay. Now, Miru means in Japanese means to look, means to see, and this guy found something which is a piracy. So you used to use Anime Planet, but that sometimes require a Crunchyroll Premium. And then going down off of here, there's someone that put something right there, Kaido.to, Animewave.to. It's like, okay, all these services are obviously going to be under the watchful eye of these ISPs. There's an article from the LA Times. Dozens of anime piracy websites have gone dark. This was back in last year on August 29, 2004, because obviously the ISPs are going around and hunting these places and taking them off and taking them down. Not gonna lie, I shed a tear after seeing this at one Reddit user, which is, I don't know why they're going to have to do doing that. And of course, this is Anaway says right here in the second sentence, right? If possible, please use legal paid services. Is something we should do to show respect for our creators and our content producers. And that is exactly correct. Piracy all around hurts everyone involved. If you pirate, it will come back on everybody who is an innocent subscriber, where I do certainly somewhat agree with what Grand is saying. You go in there, as you're cutting these people off, the cost of maintaining the network is going to rise, and those costs are going to be passed on to the other consumers who are not pirating. Then the people who actually created the work, they're not going to be getting paid for their services and everything. And people like to push around this word greed. They love to say greed when they talk about corporations and everything like that, but they never talk about greed when they're talking about the about the individual. The individual who decides to say, you know something, I don't think I have to pay that high price of money. I'm going to go somewhere else so I can watch it for free. Why is that not considered greed? I would certainly consider that greed. You want to steal somebody else's work and not pay for it. That to me is the epitome of greed. So I will never ever condone piracy. I will admit that back in the day, I did bootleg some anime from Thailand, bought bootleg DVDs and everything like that. But those days are long gone. There's all kinds of places where you can watch anime. Again, I named off several of them. I named off Amazon Prime, Hulu, Netflix, Crunchyroll, High Dive. All those places provide really good access to some really good anime. And of course, you can always buy video on demand. And you can also go ahead and buy 4Ks and whatnot. So there's all kinds of places to go ahead and get your anime fix without stealing it. But anyway, those are my thoughts and concerns. This article again will be, if you want to read it in detail, along with a lot of the legal mumbo jumbo that's off within it, I will go ahead and link that in the description to this video. Jump down in the comments and let me know what you guys think about all this. Are you guys currently pirating your shit? You ain't got to say whether you are or aren't, but just know I don't condone piracy in any way, shape, or form. You do you, but if you get caught, you ain't got no one to blame but yourself. Jump down in the comments. Let's go ahead and get a conversation started on that. And remember to like, share, subscribe, and turn on those post notifications. All that stuff really helps me out. And remember, this is Chris Bolts signing off, and I will catch you in the next video. You guys take it easy.